Hi, I'm Mikaela, and this is Love Mikaela, a podcast where I talk about literally anything and everything I want to. As you can tell, I'm still getting over my cold, which actually wasn't just a cold like I thought it was. It was a cold that then developed into a sinus and ear infection. So I'm on medication for that. I finally saw the doctor. Don't wait to go see your doctor. You should do that sooner rather than later. Give it a week. Don't give it two like I did. I gave it 2 weeks. And I was like, I'll be fine. No. I needed antibiotics. So I'm on medication now. That's helping. So hopefully this is the last time you're going to hear me sounding like this. But we'll see. My voice is pretty much back now. I just sound a bit stuffed up. But I'm coughing still. So again, if there's cuts, it's because I have to grab some water or I'm coughing or whatever. But yeah, almost better now. So today I wanted to talk about finally the long-awaited podcast of faking it till you make it, and using that to build confidence for yourself and just become a better version of you. I feel like I've kind of been on this journey of really finding confidence and feeling good about myself within the last 5 years or so, and I just thought I would share kind of what's helped me. You've probably heard the phrase fake it till you make it a lot, and you're like, oh, that sounds cliche, or it sounds kind of dumb, I don't think that would actually work, if you haven't ever implemented it. But if you have implemented it, then you know, like I do know, that it really does work. Cliches aren't always bad. Sometimes they're cliche and they're common for a reason, and sometimes that reason is because it works. So to me, faking it till you make it just means building confidence in yourself and thinking basically, if you think something is possible for you, or there's something and you're like, oh, I wish I could be like that, you can. For most things, I mean, let's be reasonable, right? There's some things that you can't become just because you want to. But in general, I would say if you want something, you want to be something, you want to do something, you want to know someone, be friends with someone, generally speaking. If you want that thing, then if you act like you have that thing for long enough, eventually you will have that thing. Because your brain is really good at finding patterns, right? If you think about how humans are just naturally inclined to find faces and things, and sometimes that leans into scary, spooky things. But if you look at wood, or even just patterns on furniture or on clothes, or appliances, you see faces in everything, because your brain is so good at facial recognition, essentially, trying to find faces, that you will find them, even subconsciously. Your brain is just really good at finding patterns in anything. So if you're focusing on the negative things in your life, oh, this always happens to me, I always get in trouble, or I always get caught doing this thing that I'm not supposed to do, or I always get picked on, I always get picked last. If you focus on those things, your brain, if you consciously focus on those things, your brain will subconsciously focus on those things, and then you're going to miss all the times where those things don't happen, because you're so focused on when those things do happen that you're going to find a pattern in that and believe it, and you're going to tell yourself over and over so many things, all these negative things about yourself. If you tell yourself something long enough, you're going to start to believe it, because your brain is going to go, oh, well, consciously, I'm thinking about this thing a lot, so there's probably a pattern here, so let me subconsciously look for it, and then your brain will find the pattern. It'll make the pattern for you. And so fake it till you make it is the same idea, just instead of focusing on something negative, why don't we just focus on something positive? Your brain's going to focus on something and find patterns anyway, so you might as well make it something positive and something good for yourself. And so to me, that's kind of what fake it till you make it is. If you tell yourself over and over and over that you look bad every time you look in the mirror, you're going to believe it, because then your brain is going to be looking for all the things that aren't perfect or are things that you don't like about yourself, and that's all it's going to see. Instead of all the good, positive things that you do like about yourself, even if you don't want to admit it, there's got to be at least 1 or 2 things you like about yourself. Like, even when I felt my ugliest, I've always thought that my eyes were really pretty, like the color. And I've always thought that, like, my lips weren't too bad, right? They're not, like, amazing, but, like, they're pretty cute. That's what I thought. Like, these are just physical attributions. There's, like, you can think about other characteristics that aren't physical as well, obviously. But I'll just use as an example physical stuff. Even then, I would think, like, oh, my eyes are a really pretty color, and I kind of like the way that my lips are shaped, right? But if I was so focused on, oh, I have all these pimples, oh, my skin is so bad, I don't like my eyebrows, I hate my nose, I gain too much weight. If you're focusing on all of those things that you don't like instead of the things that you do like, and you do that multiple times over and over, you're telling your brain that that's what we need to be focusing on. And so that's what it's going to focus on, even subconsciously when you're not trying to. And it's just going to make it a lot more difficult for you to, like, be kind to yourself and think nice things about yourself. Versus if instead, even if you don't believe it, this is the craziest part. Even if you don't believe it and you look in the mirror once a day, or you don't even look in the mirror, you just think to yourself, wow, I look really good today. I'm so pretty. I look so pretty. Wow, I can't believe I'm so pretty. I'm so cute. I'm so cute. Like, I love, my eyes look so pretty today. Oh, this color looks really good on me. Like, if you find those little things that are good and focus on those about yourself, then eventually your brain is going to be like, oh, this is the pattern I'm supposed to be following, is looking for these things that I like. And subconsciously you'll start doing that too. And then eventually you get to a point where you believe it and you're like, no, actually I am really pretty. I don't know why I ever thought I wasn't. And how do I know that? Because I did it. Because I did it and it worked. So that's just kind of a basic idea. I feel like I'm kind of going into manifesting and what that means to me. Manifesting is kind of a buzzword. A lot of people got into it, like, recently, I would say, and it became a big thing recently. What you might think it means if you haven't gone into it, because I think it means something different for everyone. So what you think it means, even if you have gotten into it or if you haven't, is not going to be the same thing as what it means to me. So I'm going to go into more detail on that in a hot minute, but I'm going to talk about the stuff, like how I used to be as a human and how I am now, and what I've done, what I've been able to accomplish because I have been faking it till I make it and manifesting in the way that what I see manifesting is. And I'm just going to give you those changes so that you have something to go off of like, oh, wait, no, maybe this actually does work. And then I'm going to go further into detail on what manifesting is to me, because it's basically fake it till you make it, for me at least. It may not be the same for everyone, but this is what it is for me. That way, you're not, like, listening to me explain this and you're like, oh, I don't believe in it. Listen. Just listen to what I've been able to accomplish and how I've changed because I've been faking it till I've made it. Not to say that I've fully made it yet, because there's definitely, like, the thing is like, when you accomplish things, you want to accomplish more, right? Like, or maybe that's just the kind of person I am, and I'm hungry to, like, keep growing and being better. But, like, you can accomplish so much. Like, I haven't made it yet. I'm still faking it and I'm still making it. But, like, where I've come from, like, how far I've grown, how far I've come is, like, insane for me to think about. So I'm just gonna put that out there, put my evidence out there, and then take that as you will. And then I'll explain more of, like, what I've done. So I used to have zero self-esteem. Because of that, I didn't pick the best people to be friends with. And that's definitely still something I'm working on now, is learning how to make friends. Like, when you're in school, it's, like, way easier to make friends because you're around the same people all the time. But when you become an adult and you work, it's a little bit harder because, like, you might want to keep a barrier with who you're working with. Or for me, like, I only work part-time, and my other job, like, my career is acting, which it's, like, one, hard to get your foot in the door at all, and then two, you don't really see the same people consistently. Like, unless you're working on a show or a film, like, you might see them consistently for a long period of time, but then you might never see them again. So I feel like it would be harder to make friends in that way as well. But it's harder to make friends. So it's something I'm still working on, but I'm definitely better at, like, not picking people who are going to treat me badly because I didn't think well of myself. So I picked people who would also think the same way as me because that was comfortable, which meant I picked people who weren't that great of friends sometimes. I also tied all of my self-worth to what I could accomplish and how other people felt about me, which isn't good for anyone. Because of that, I let myself be walked all over because I was so set on making sure everyone liked me all the time and that I made everyone happy all the time, that I would agree to things I didn't want to do, or I would volunteer myself for things that I didn't need to, and that wasn't going to be good for me, but I did it because I was like, well, if I do it, then they'll like me more. And then I didn't benefit from it anyway, so it was like there was no point in doing that. And I worked really hard and I always agreed with everyone to make sure I was making everyone happy all the time, but that left me feeling really empty and just even lower than I had been before, which isn't great and not what you want when you're surrounded, like when you're building your community, your team, your family, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it my community. When you're building your community, you want to fill it with people who make you want to be better and who you feel loved by even as you are. You want to be with people who love you the way that you are, but also inspire you and want you to grow and will also grow with you. You know what I mean? You don't want people who are going to want you to stay exactly the same as you always were because then they can have more control over you, or because they have power over you, or it makes them feel better about themselves. You don't want that. That's not what you want in your community. That's not the kind of person you want to surround yourself with, because it's just going to make you feel worse. But if you're already in a place where you feel very small and like you're not worth very much and you don't have a lot to offer, then someone who is constantly asking you to do things for them or is happy whenever you do things for them, especially if it's you going out of your way to do things for them, it's going to make you feel better about yourself for a little bit, but not in the long term. I don't know if any of that made any sense, but yeah, that's kind of where I was coming from. Being a yes man, doing work that I shouldn't have been doing, overextending myself, not taking care of myself, putting everyone before myself, which being selfless isn't a bad thing. It's good. I think it's a good trait to have, is to care so much about other people that you're willing to sometimes put yourself aside and put others first. But if that's all you're doing all the time, eventually you're going to get to a point where you either make yourself sick, where you have run out of anything left to give and you can't even give to yourself anymore, let alone other people. And then if that happens and you can't provide the same way that you had been providing before, the people who are around you, who are only around you because you provided so much for them, are going to leave. And then you're going to be left by yourself and you won't even be able to help yourself because you've spent everything about yourself and all of your energy. But again, if you're already not feeling great about yourself, then that's a place that's comfortable for you, right? Because you've been telling yourself, well, I'm not worth anything. All I can do is work hard and make other people happy, and that's all I'm good for. So then you're going to surround yourself with, I don't know if you can hear it, there's rain. So if you hear that in the background, sorry, but I love a rainy day. What do you think? Do you guys like rainy days too? I love a rainy day if I'm home, but if I have to go to work, I hate rainy days. I don't like being outside when it's raining. I like the ability to go outside if I want to when it's raining, but I don't like the being forced to go outside when it's raining. Anyway, sorry, the rain made me lose my train of thought. Yeah, you're gonna keep yourself in that spot because it's comfortable, and if you're constantly telling your brain that this is what you deserve, then you're gonna keep finding it and seeking it out. And I'm not saying that that's always the case, you know? But I think it's very easy to find yourself in that situation if you also don't think that you're worth anything either. I also let my lack of confidence stop me from going after opportunities and things that I wanted because I thought I was so afraid to fail because I already had so little self-esteem that if I did fail, again, I was tying my self-worth to how much I could do for others and what I could accomplish because I didn't have anything else to tie it to at the time. And so the idea of failing was like what little self-esteem I do have is gonna be out the window if I fail. And so instead of even trying, because I was so afraid that I was gonna fail, I just let opportunities pass me by. And I really regret that. Like, that's one of the things I regret the most about my college experience is I had all of these resources and opportunities at my fingertips, and I didn't use them because I was so afraid that I was going to fail. I lacked so much confidence. I was afraid no one would want to work with me. I was afraid all my ideas were garbage. So I let all of those opportunities pass me by, and it's really unfortunate that I did because I wonder where I would be right now if I hadn't done that. But you can't live in the past. It is what it is. Like, I can't go back. The person that I am now is someone who's way more confident about myself. I definitely still have my moments. I definitely still have stuff to work on. But like I said, I am a person now, like, I'll pass myself, like, I'll look at, like, I used to hate mirrors. I used to avoid them. I didn't like getting pictures taken of I still don't really like pictures taken of myself. I don't think I'm a very photogenic person, which maybe is something I should work on. But I think I look really good on camera, which is why I like to do videos and why I'm an actor, because I think I look really nice on camera, moving. But photos is something I definitely need to work on. But I'm also like, the reason before that I used to not like looking in mirrors, I used to not like having pictures taken of me, is because I didn't think I was pretty. I thought I was really ugly. I was really self-conscious. I didn't like being perceived, which is really sad and unfortunate because when I was very little, before I let insecurities kind of seep in and the outside world kind of get its claws into me, I loved being in front of people. I loved being perceived and being watched. Like, that's why I wanted to be a performer and an entertainer. That's why I'm an actor now. Like, there's nothing wrong with wanting attention, especially if you're doing it in a way that's kind of constructive. I don't know if that's the right word. If you're doing it in a way that's not necessarily all about you and is also about like connecting with others, which is still kind of about you. It's about me wanting to connect with other people, I guess. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting attention and liking the attention. Someone's got to be in front of the camera. Someone's got to do it because not everyone's built for that. And I am. But I didn't want to be perceived for a very long period of my life because I didn't think I looked good. I didn't want people to see me. I didn't want people to think about me or notice me. I thought I looked really ugly. I just thought the worst of myself. So I didn't like looking in mirrors, or I didn't like getting my picture taken. Now I'm a person who's like, oh, let's take a picture. I want to take a picture of this. And it's really sad because I have all these moments in the past where I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I had a picture so I could like commemorate that moment, you know? And now I'm the kind of person who like, I'll see myself even on a day when I don't look all like, this is like probably most done up for me. Like I got like, normally I don't even look like this for these. I just do some glitter because I love glitter. I'm a glitter girl. But like I've got full eyeshadow on. I don't even know if you can see it in the video because I'm so far away. But even when I don't look fully done up like this, I have no makeup on. I've only done skincare or whatever. I'll pass myself in the mirror, like I'll look in the mirror while I'm washing my hands after using the restroom. I'm like, wow, I look really cute today. I look really pretty today. That's something I would never ever have thought before. And the only thing I changed that has made me feel that way about myself is telling myself, no, you look really good today. And did it start out with when I was only fully done up, or when my hair was perfect that day, or when I really loved my outfit? Yeah. But if you take those little steps, eventually you'll get to a point where you're just like, oh, my existence is beautiful. Not just physically, just as a human. My existence is beautiful. I look great. And that doesn't mean I don't have moments where I'm like, oh, I don't look good today. Or even if I'm like having a good day, I'm like, I look really pretty. And then I see myself and I'm like, oh, I just felt pretty, but I don't look pretty. But then I have to just reel it back in and be like, no, you look pretty. Okay. You just look different pretty today than you did the other day. Like, your existence itself is beautiful. And if you start telling yourself that, you will believe it eventually, because I did. It's probably been 2 years or so since I started doing that, and already that's the difference that this has made. And I said 5 years in the beginning because that's when I started to kind of try to fake it till I made it. But within the last 2 years or so is when I like really buckled in and was like, all right, let's do this. And it's made such a huge difference. I also like acknowledge when I feel pretty or when I look pretty. It doesn't just have to be when you look pretty. When you feel pretty, you should acknowledge it. And I don't feel guilty or weird about it. The only time I've ever felt weird or guilty about it is if someone else has commented on it, and like that's not a them, that's not a me thing, that's a them thing, you know? Like whatever their commentary on it is doesn't mean anything to you, because if you truly feel that you look nice that day or you just feel good that day, then that's all that matters. What you think about yourself is what matters the most, because you're the one who's kind of defining your own reality and the patterns your brain is going to find. And so if you're thinking positive things and trying to put a positive spin on stuff, you will find the positive things in your life faster and easier, and it will make your life just a little bit better. Life is hard. Being a human is hard, especially right now, I think. And so any positivity you can find in your life, I say go for it, especially if it's not going to hurt anyone else, you know? I also am someone who now will like acknowledge and celebrate my wins, even the little ones. Like, I don't know, when you don't think you're worth anything, even if you're accomplishing some great things, you just don't even acknowledge it, because you're like, well, yeah, of course I had to accomplish this thing because otherwise I'd be worthless and I don't mean anything, but at least I did this one thing. Whereas now I'm like, wow, it's really cool that I like got that thing done. Like, I can't believe I did that. Like, good for me. Like, that's awesome. It shows how much I'm growing as a person and as an artist, or, you know, in whatever capacity. Just acknowledging that you did something really cool can do a lot for you. Because if you're focused instead on, well, I didn't do this thing and I didn't do that, then yeah, you're going to be coming from a place of lack. But if you're acknowledging like, wow, I can't believe I accomplished that thing. Like, that's really cool that I did that. Like, I'm kind of cool. Like, I'm awesome. Like, good for me. You're going to build confidence in yourself, because you're going to be like, well, I was able to do that thing, so maybe I can try to do this thing too. Because I didn't think I'd be able to do it, but I gave it a try and then I did do it. So maybe I should give this thing a try, because maybe I can do this too. Like, it just gives you a little bit more confidence. It's almost like you're building a bridge to different things, right? Or maybe there's different points in this bridge. You've put 5 stones in front of you if you made it to this one accomplishment. You're like, oh, wow, I didn't even think I could get off that cliff, but I put the 5 stones in front of me. I built this bridge and now I'm over here. There's that other thing that's further away that I kind of want to try, but I don't know if I could do it. But I was able to put 5 stones back here. That one's only 10 stones. It's double. Let me give it a try. And then maybe you make it, and maybe you don't, but maybe you make it halfway and you're like, okay, well, that was 5 stones that I was able to do for now. If I can do 5 stones at a time and that thing's 10 stones away, I already did half of it. Now I can try again and give it another 5 stones. And then you'll get there. Math, not really. But like, I don't know, there's just something about telling yourself that it doesn't hurt to try, and giving yourself a safe space to fail, that will make you go after things that you never thought you could do. And then you'll accomplish it and be like, why did I think I couldn't do that? I just did it. I passed that thing with flying colors. So now I can do even bigger things. Like, the more you do, the more you accomplish, the more you're going to think to yourself, like, the more hungry you get for wanting to do even more. And then I'm also a person who, like, I think it's just kind of who I am. I like to help other people, and I like to go above and beyond and work as hard as I can. And does it tire me out? Do I still extend myself too far sometimes? Yeah, I think that's why I got sick this last time, is because I was doing way too much and trying to get everything done. But I'm way better about not consistently doing that. And then if I do end up doing that, taking time to take a break for myself and giving myself a little bit more leeway when I am recovering from something. But I'm just someone who likes to help others and kind of go above and beyond. But I'm not doing it now where it's consistently a point that I am burning myself out every time and then picking up the pieces and then doing it right over again. I don't do that anymore. I do it sometimes, but then I know, like, oh, I need a recovery time and I'm just going to focus on this now. I don't know if that makes any sense. And now I'm also someone who is quick to accept compliments and really take them in and appreciate them. Whereas in the past, I like almost refused them. Like, oh, no, you can possibly be saying something nice about me, because I didn't think I deserved that. And not only is that a disservice to myself, but it's a disservice to the person who's taking time out of their day and some, not like a bunch of emotion, but like they're taking time and effort to say something nice to you. And if you're not going to take that in and accept it, then it's kind of a disservice to them too. Like, I remember distinctly, like, this is a moment that I remember that has stuck in my head for forever. When it was, I think, my sophomore or junior year of college, and my acting teacher, who I loved, who I still love, even though I wish I stayed in constant contact with her, but I just didn't, because she's the coolest. And she was like, "Oh, you look really pretty today." And I was like, huh? Like, I literally did, like, in a sitcom where someone looks around and they go, "Me?" And they're like, "Yeah, dummy, you." I was like, that's just no, I like legitimately did that in real life. I looked around and I was like, she couldn't possibly be saying, she can't say that. She's saying that about me. I was like, me? And she went, "Yeah, dummy, you." She literally said it. I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you." She was like, "Yeah, you're so pretty." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Cool." And it took me a long, like a while, a long time for me to like, I didn't even fully take it in when she said it. I was so flabbergasted that someone could be saying, someone who I held in such high regard could say something kind like that to me, that I didn't even believe it was for me, even though she was looking directly at me. And I think at the time she was pointing at me too. But I went, "Nah, she can, me? No way." And she was like, "Yeah, you, I'm pointing at you. What do you mean? I'm looking at you. Of course it's you." I couldn't say that. Or on like random friends or random people in school would be like, "Oh wow, I really like your outfit." I'd be like, "Oh, whatever, it's nothing." And they're like, "No, like, you look good," even though I knew that I put effort into it, and they could tell I put effort into it, and they liked it, and so they wanted to say something. But instead of me just taking it in, it's like I threw it back at them, which isn't great, and it makes people not want to compliment you as much. Not to say that if you are like that, you're not deserving of compliments. You are. But if you take the extra time to really take it in and really thank them, be like, "Thank you so much. Like, that's really nice of you to say." Even if you don't, like, I'm trying to be better about complimenting people back. I used to be way better about that. But, and not in a way that's like, I don't deserve the compliment, the reason I'm slower at it now is because I'm not trying to do it just to pay them back for the compliment. The fact that they took the time out of that, and then me saying thank you and appreciating them for that, that's enough. You don't have to pay back a compliment. But it's nice sometimes, especially if you do actually like something else that they're wearing, or you're like, "Oh, their hair does look really good today. Let me say something back." You're like, "Oh yeah, like, I wanted to say this earlier, but your hair looks really cool today. You look awesome." Like, if you can give them something back, whether that's just appreciation or a compliment back, I think it's so much better than just lobbing what they said back at them and being like, "Ugh, you don't really mean that though, right?" They do mean it. Just take it in. Take it in and appreciate it. They mean it. So I'm way better about accepting compliments now, and I think it's just made life more fun. Especially because I teach as a part-time job. Well, sort of teach. I don't really know what to call my position at this point, but I'm around kids a lot for my part-time job, and so and I put effort into my outfit most of the time. Sometimes I'm like, no. And am I an outfit repeater? Absolutely, because if I like an outfit, it's comfortable and it's school appropriate. Because let me tell you, a lot of my wardrobe is not elementary school appropriate, right? Like, it's different. Is not school appropriate because, like, my midriff is showing, or my shoulders are, like, even this. Like, I usually wear a tank top underneath, and then I try to, like, kind of cinch this a little bit so it's not as loose up top. But, I've got a lot of tops and stuff that show midriff or show shoulders, or, my shorts or my skirts are too short, so I can't wear, so I'm an outfit repeater. But I do put effort into my outfits and into my look a lot of the time, or into my hair. And when the kids compliment it and say nice things, it makes me feel nice, and I'm like, I want to acknowledge, like, I think that's what it is, really. I'm acknowledging that you made me feel good, and I want to thank you for that. And if you make, like, I don't know about everyone. Maybe not everyone's like this, but I feel like most people are. If you make, like, when you make someone else feel good, it makes you feel good. You're like, "Oh, that's so cool. Like, we connected and we made each other feel nice. Like, that's so lovely." Like, isn't that, like, such a nice and amazing part of being a human, is that you can connect with other people and you can both make each other feel good and, like, maybe even make their day better. So I like to take the time and acknowledge that someone said something nice to me. But if it had been me in the past, even if the little kid had been saying that, because most little kids, I would say a good majority of little kids don't really lie when it comes to stuff like that. They're pretty honest. Taking the time to acknowledge and thank them for that hopefully it makes them feel good too. It make me feel good. And I wouldn't have been able to do that in the past. I would have just brushed it off. And that's not going to make anyone feel good coming out of that interaction. It's not great. I think something that came out of this that was surprising for me in gaining more confidence in myself is I have found that it's a lot easier for me to acknowledge my mistakes and apologize for those mistakes. And it's a lot easier for me to admit when I need help and thank people when they help me, even if I haven't asked for it. But I can acknowledge that, like, oh, wow, I really did need that. And I'm so thankful that you didn't even ask me if I needed it. You just did it. And it was really helpful for me. Because in the past, if someone had to help me or if I made a mistake, to me that would be seen as a failure, and all I was worth for, does that make sense? The only thing that I had that was worthy was the effort and the work I could do for others. And because that was all that I found that I was worth for, if someone took that away, it would almost be seen as an attack if I made a mistake or if someone helped me, because it was like, you're taking away the one thing I can do that makes me worthy, and I'm not doing it now, and so now I'm worthless. And so it comes off as an attack when it's not. If someone's helping you, they're helping you because they're like, hey, I can do something that you are not able to do right now, and it's not going to be a burden for me, and I want to do that thing for you. Or even if they don't want to do it for you, but they're like, hey, listen, I noticed you're having trouble with this. I can do it pretty easy, so I'm just going to do it really fast. Don't worry about it. Maybe you can help me out with something in the future if I need help on something that you're good at and I'm not. That's all that it is. It can be an exchange, or it can just be something that someone wants to do because it's easy for them to do and they want to help you. They want to do that thing, right? It doesn't have anything to do with what you're worth. It doesn't have anything to do with saying you're a failure or that you can't do anything right. If you make a mistake, own up to it and say, hey, I'm really sorry I did that. I shouldn't have done that. And I apologize for it. And I will do my best to make sure that does not happen again. And is there anything else that I can do to make it up to you? You made a mistake, and that's okay. That doesn't mean you're now the worst person on the face of the earth. But if you don't have any confidence in yourself, and if you don't have any self-esteem going for you, then you might think that. And then you're going to think, that person made me feel like that because they called me out on my mistake. Like, no, it's not an attack. It's just pointing it out, saying, hey, let's make sure we don't do this again. Almost like kind of gentle parenting myself in a way that I didn't get when I was younger. And not like any flack to my parents, because like they don't always know what's going on in your head, especially if you're someone who wouldn't communicate because you don't even think you're worthy of communicating that thing. But now, do I still have trouble sometimes? Yeah, of course. I'm kind of stubborn. And I get really defensive a lot of the time. But I'm way better than I was years ago at admitting mistakes and admitting when I need help and apologizing for things when I need to. And I think that's just because I've gained more self-confidence in myself. I know my own worth a little bit better now. And so I don't take those things as an attack on me as a human and my worth and my place in this world, because I know that that's not all that I'm good for, right? Some things that I have accomplished by faking it till I make it. I had my first ever role in a Netflix show, which is cool. Still the only big thing I've ever done, but still, that's cool. That's crazy. And is it only one line? Yeah, it's only one line. But I still got to work with some really cool people. I got to be on a real big set for my very first time being on a set. I had my own little trailer. That was really cool. I got my hair and makeup done, had wardrobe ready. I went to a fitting. I got to do all the stuff, which is super cool. And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't make the connections that I did, and I wouldn't have made those connections if I hadn't been confident in myself, at least in that area. These people the person that I became friends with, who was the showrunner and writer for the show and producer, he's basically in charge of basically getting the show up and running and off the ground. He's the reason I got on the show. So I'm not gonna be like, oh, I did it only off my talent. No, that's just kind of how the business goes, unfortunately. But I mean, I am talented enough to know that like I am worthy of at least trying to do this. I was in a space when I met him that I felt confident in, even if I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself. And that confidence is attractive, And I don't mean that in a romantic sense exclusively. It's just, if someone is confident, other people want to be around them because, like, even though I'm still like this, even though I have a lot of confidence, I'm like, oh, like, they're so confident. Like, what do they have that makes them feel that way about themselves? And is there anything that I can kind of take off of that and keep for myself, That's why people are attracted to confident people. Confident, not cocky. Confident people, because you're thinking, oh, what can I take from them and learn from them and apply to myself to help myself level up and bring myself up to that level, And I was in a space where I was confident enough. And so when I talked to this person, and we got along really well, and it was fun to get to know him. And then he ended up making a show and asked if I wanted to be a part of it. And I was like, yeah. Whereas in the past, if I didn't have any confidence in myself, this is still when I was just barely starting my journey with this. But I had enough that I was like, go for it. Because if it had been even 3 or 4 years, like 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh, I don't think I could. I don't know. I don't think I should. Like, no, go for it. Go for it. Try it. What's the worst that can happen? They say no. Which to me, when I didn't have any confidence, yeah, that is the worst that could happen. And that felt like the end of the world. But it's not. It's just like, oh, didn't work out. All right, on to the next. That's all it is. But if you don't have the confidence in yourself to think of it that way, then you're not going to go for things because you're going to be too afraid. I've also gone to parties where I didn't know anyone except for like the host, which I never would have done in the past. And it's still kind of scary to me even thinking about it now because I haven't done it in a while. But I've gone and I've made friends and talked with people for hours. I'm the kind of person that like, I'm usually really shy at first. And then if I get to know you and I feel like we like vibe and we gel really well, then I'll open up and then I'm like, I won't shut up. Like I don't stop talking. But going to a party where I don't really know anyone is like so scary because I'm like, I get scared and nervous. But because I've gained more confidence in myself, like before it was scary because I'm like, oh, no one's gonna like me. Everyone's gonna think I'm lame. Everyone's gonna be like, why is this person even here? Why were they invited? Right? All these negative things. But now it's scary because I'm like, oh, I don't know anyone. I'm just a little nervous. But then you go and you make friends. And like, I never would have done that before. I've also gone to the movies by myself. I've gone shopping by myself. I haven't eaten by myself anywhere, but that's not really because of a lack of confidence to do that thing. It's more of I just enjoy eating at home more. Like if I'm gonna get something by myself, I'm probably just gonna get takeout and take it home because I just want to be in the comfort of my own home instead of in a restaurant with a bunch of other people. But I even went to KCON by myself, which was kind of crazy. I did meet up with friends, but I did spend a good chunk of the day alone, and then I did go off and do my own thing, and then I went to the concert by myself. I met up with someone there for like 5 minutes to just say hi. But like I never would have been able to do any of that in the past because I would have been just too scared. I dress the way that I want to now. I mean, within reason. Like when I'm at my job, of course it needs to be school appropriate. But I like being really girly and really cutesy. I like the way that people dress, like K-pop idols dress and girls in K-dramas dress, all like the cutesy, like elegant looking stuff. I like all of that, but I never... Like, a part of me is, like, because I look so baby-faced, even though I'm older, people might, like, think I'm younger, or people might think it's weird that I'm dressing that way because I'm older. But I have enough confidence in myself now to just dress how I want to in a way that I'm comfortable with. And sometimes that's really, really cutesy, and sometimes it's in a little, sweater and some, jeans or sweats or, comfy clothes, whatever. I dress the way I want to because I'm confident enough to do that, and I don't feel that I owe it to anyone else to make myself palatable for those people. I think that's really powerful and really important. Of course, being appropriate, right? Like, make sure you're wearing a top and some bottoms or like a one piece that covers everything that needs to be covered when you go out. But you know, do what you want, right? Um, and now I even have the job that I have now, my like part-time job. Honestly, even getting my agent, like I can't believe I did that and didn't. And my showcase that I did, I had a monologue for multiple reasons, and I'll go into that in another video. But I did a monologue. I was the only person in my class, my graduating class, who did a monologue, and I killed it. Honestly, I really did. Like I killed it. Um, and even then, like I had the very little bit of self confidence that I had, I think carried me through that. But now I have a part time job that utilizes my skills and what I learned and went to school for. It's fulfilling. I love what I'm doing. I love being around the kids and helping them out and helping them find passions and talents that they didn't know that they had and things that they didn't know they even wanted to pursue. I love that. I really, really love that. Like, I wouldn't mind doing this as a part time thing for the rest of my life, to be honest. Because I love it. I really, really do. Obviously, acting is my main thing, and that's my career, and that's what I'm going to pursue. But if this is something that doesn't interfere with that, then yeah, I would like to continue doing it for a long time because I really, really do love the work that we're doing. But I got this job because a friend posted about it on Instagram, and I saw it and I was like, no. And then I was like, well, why not? And I reached out to them. I was like, hey, I'm interested in this, but I have no previous experience and I really didn't have any work experience. Like, this is kind of the first job I've ever had. And she brought me on and was like, hey, let's try it. And then I grew from a TA into a teacher into now a new position that where I got a raise because I'm in a higher position now, and I'm being told that I'm doing really well at my job and may have some more exciting stuff coming up soon, which is incredible. But I never would have gotten here if I hadn't faked it till I made it and thought, well, I'll apply for this job just in case, even though I don't know if I can do it. I was like, well, let me just try it. And I did try it and I did it. And here I am now. Like, and I'm good at it. Not to toot my own horn, but like I'm good at it. I'm good at it because I work really hard and I do my best to get along with everyone. But I'm also like just good at seeing these little things that need to be fixed and helping out where I'm needed. And I found out and realized like, oh, I'm kind of a go-getter. Like I've never thought of myself in that way until literally like when I got this opportunity to move up in this like company into this position. I was like, oh, because when the job description was described to me, it was like, oh, you're going to be doing a lot of different things. It's going to be kind of a lot of trial and error, putting out fires, helping out where you're needed to. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll give it a try. And I honestly gave it a try because I was like, I liked the company and what they were doing. Mostly I liked what they were doing. And I needed a job. Like, let's be honest. I didn't know for sure if I could do it, but I thought, well, I didn't think I could teach last year and I did that. So let's give this a try too. And then it made me realize, oh, I'm kind of a go-getter. Like I will go and do things. Like if you tell me what you need done, I'll go do it. And sometimes especially if I'm comfortable in a space and I've been doing it for long enough, I feel like confident and that I have a handle on what's going on, I'll do it without you asking me and then it'll get done. I'm like, that's just who I am as a person. And I didn't know that or think that about myself until I like faked it and tried it out and then I made it. Like I would never have known. And now I'm even going after a second day job, part-time job as a teacher on my own. Don't know where that's gonna go, but it'll be fun to try at least. And I think I can do a good I think I can do a good job with it because I was able to do it before, so I should be able to do it now. But I wouldn't ever have been able to do it before if I hadn't thought, well, just give it a try, find that confidence and just try it, fake it, and we'll see if we make it. And then I made it. And now I'm taking it even further. Like I'm building up and building up and building up because I'm faking it, making it, and then deciding, well, if I faked it and made it before, I can fake it and make it again, and then doing it again and going even further. I think that's really cool. And then I even started doing this, making this channel. I mean, the podcast was an old thing, but I kind of dropped it because I kind of lost my passion for it and my love for it. And I just couldn't find something to make it like fresher. And I had always wanted to make YouTube videos, even when I was little and when YouTube was kind of just first starting out. I say little, I was in like middle school, high school when the YouTube craze kind of finally took off. And I was going to, and then I made a full video and then I never posted it because I wasn't confident enough in myself. And now I'm doing this. I entered a film in a short, I entered a short film in a short film festival a little bit ago. And while I didn't win anything, I still did it, won, while doing all of this. And the person who organized it, who I really admire, said that he really loved it, which is cool. And it was my first time doing something like that, and I did it. I did it, and that's really amazing. And even now I'm able to acknowledge that when I wouldn't have been able to acknowledge that before. And I think it's really important that you're confident, because if you're not confident in yourself, even just a little bit, you're dimming your own light. And I think that the world that we live in right now is already kind of dimming everyone's lights as it is, kind of trying to snuff everyone out. That's just kind of the world we live in at this point. Not to say that there aren't people who are helping others grow, right? But there's also a lot going on that it makes it easy to dim your light, and you shouldn't be another obstacle and another added person that's also adding to that. You should try to help yourself grow instead of making yourself shrink, because everything else around you is already doing that. So you don't need to do that. You don't need to add to it. Like, you might become the person that you've always wanted to be if you just believe in yourself a little bit and you fake it a little bit. You might make it and be the person that you've always wanted to be, or be on your way to the person that you've always wanted to be. The worst thing that can happen if you try is you fail. And it's not the end of the world. And as a human and as an actor, well, as an actor especially, failure is kind of a part of the gig. It's just a part of it. Like, I've auditioned at this point probably 30 times over, and I've booked now 1 or 2 of those. And that's it. But, like, honestly, it's just a part of it. There's nothing wrong with not making it. Getting the audition in itself is a success. And then if you don't book it, that's okay. It's a failure, but that's okay. You move on and you try again. In life, you fail something, you move on and you try again. That's all you can do. As long as you get back up and try it again, whether it's that same thing or you're trying something else because that didn't really work out, as long as you keep going, then you can keep growing and becoming more like the person that you want to be if you're not that person yet. And even if you are that person, I believe that there's probably parts of you that you still definitely think, oh, I could be better with this. You can always grow and you can always try again. And faking it till you make it has really helped me have the confidence in continuing to try. Because if you're not trying, you're not doing anything, and you're just kind of there, I don't know how fulfilling of a life that can be. And another thing that helped me, which I said I was going to talk about, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, manifestation and what it means to me might be different than what it means to you. For me, manifestation is just if I think of something and I want that thing, I tell myself that if I wanted it, then that means there is a realm of possibility that I can have it. And so why not just believe that I can have it? I want that thing. Okay, I'll get it. I don't know when. I don't know how. But I'll get it. Eventually. It'll be mine. Whatever it is I want, it'll be mine. Because, and there's the very important reason why I believe this, because it sounds crazy, right? Well, you want something, so you just say, you just let yourself have it and you'll have it. That doesn't make sense. It does, though. Because your brain is so smart. We still don't even fully know or understand how the human brain works. And it's so complicated. But what we do know is that your brain likes to find patterns. So if you tell yourself, okay, I want that thing. So if I'm thinking I want that thing, there has to be a way, there's some pathway somewhere, somehow, that I can have that thing. And so if you tell yourself, okay, I want that thing, then I have that thing, it's mine. Your brain will do the work to find the patterns, to find the pathway, to help you make the decisions that's going to lead you to having that thing. In the same way that if you focus on every single negative thing and you don't spend any time focusing on the positive things, your brain is going to tell you, well, all these bad things happen to me all the time, so that's just must be how my life is. Bad things just must always happen to me. Or if you spend the time and focus on, okay, a bad thing happened, that's fine, but this good thing happened. Wow, this good thing happened. This good thing happened. How cool. Your brain's going to find that pattern and say, good things happen to me all the time, because that's what you're focusing on. Whatever you put your focus on is what your brain is going to continue to find more of. So if you want something and you tell yourself, oh yeah, I can have that thing. I already have that thing. That thing's definitely mine. Like, I'll have it. Your brain is going to find the way to get you that thing. Subconsciously, consciously, you'll get that thing. It might take a while. It might not take a while. It might take hours. It might take days. It might take years. You'll have that thing eventually, because your brain will be in the background working on getting that thing, because you've told yourself, okay, I have that thing and that's mine, and I can have that thing. I really think it's just the letting yourself have that thing that you want that can help you reach that thing. I'm not going to act like it's going to work for everything or it's going to work for everyone. Of course, there's different circumstances for different people and different things that can happen. And maybe there's some things that might be impossible. Like, I don't know, if you wanted to be like, oh, well, I want to be able to fly and have wings growing out my back, I'll have that. Maybe you could. I don't know. I mean, science and technology have come pretty far, even just in my short lifetime. And so, I'm not going to say never, but that might be something that takes a little bit longer than if you're like, oh, I'm going to find some free change on the ground. It'll happen because your brain will be in the background thinking about it, and you might not be consciously like looking on the ground for change while you're walking around, but your brain subconsciously is going to be thinking about it. You're going to find it because your brain's thinking about it, even if you're not actively thinking about it. So manifestation to me is just knowing that if you want something, there is the possibility that you can have it. And if you just let yourself live in that possibility and enjoy that, your brain's going to find a way to get it to you. It could take a while, or it could not. You'll get it eventually. And I feel like it's worked for me in a lot of ways. For things that I like don't really make sense and I don't know how it worked out, but it just did. Like, little things like wanting something good happening to me, and then I get like a free a complimentary snack or something, that I don't know. But basically, like, fake it till you make it, confidence and manifestation kind of all go hand in hand for me. It's all just believing in yourself and trusting that you will get to where you need to be and where you want to be if you let yourself believe that you can, and there is a possibility that you will get there. I think it works even better if you tell yourself, well, I will get there, and you don't just think, oh, there's a possibility I will. If you tell yourself you will get there, you will subconsciously and consciously make the decisions to get yourself to that place. But if that's too scary and that's too big, then just tell yourself, I bet I could have that. Maybe I will have that someday. At least it's better than being like, I could never have that. I'll never get that thing I want. I'll never be that way. You can, if you let yourself and you try and you find the confidence to do it. But if you're not going to take the steps to do all of that, or you're not going to take the time to even just tell yourself, like, maybe I could do that, then yeah, you're not going to get there because you're telling yourself you won't. I just think logically it makes sense. But it's hard to believe that if you don't even believe you're worth anything, which I used to. But I promise you, if you just do your best to find things to be confident about, or even lie to yourself, lie and tell yourself, I'm confident, I'm smart, I'm beautiful, even if you don't believe it right now. And I'm not saying anyone's not those things. I think everyone is those things in their own way. I think there's different types of beauty. I think there's different types of smart for sure. I think everyone is wonderful in their own way. But if you don't find those things about yourself, it's going to make it really hard for other people to see those things about you too. Not impossible. I'm not going to say that, because I think that that's silly to think. There's people who are going to love you no matter what, and who are going to see the beautiful things about you, and it's going to hurt them that you don't see those things about yourself too. But I think if you also see those things about yourself, it makes it a little bit easier for everyone around you to see it. And it's going to make it easier for you to reflect that back, and for them to amplify it even more for you. My moral of this whole podcast is be confident, go for what you want, and expect the best, because if you do fail, then you can just try again. And maybe you'll expect less, or maybe you'll expect more, and you'll probably get either less or more depending on what you're expecting, but you can always try again. Always, 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 you can always try again. And I'll leave you with this. If you take the time every day, you don't have to do it in a mirror. You could just say it out loud to yourself, or say it in your head to yourself. When you're on your way to work in the car, when you're brushing your teeth in the morning, if you take the time to tell yourself some affirmations, whatever that may be, I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I'm talented, I love who I am, I love who I'm becoming, people love to be around me, people want to be around me, people like being with me, people think the best of me, I think the best of me, I'm really kind, I'm very smart, I'm very helpful, I love a lot of people love me. Any of those lovely things, or anything that works for you, or anything that you want to work on and better your confidence in for yourself, just try it. Try it for like 2 weeks. Telling yourself, taking time every day, morning, night, afternoon, whenever you've got a spare moment, at least once a day. Say some affirmations to yourself out loud, in your head, in the mirror, not in the mirror, whatever works for you. Just try it for like 2 weeks and see if it makes a difference. Because I can almost guarantee that it will. And if it doesn't for 2 weeks, try a month. And at that point, you'll see a difference. You'll see a difference. Whether it's teeny tiny or whether it's huge, you'll see a difference. And I think the more confident and the more we all love ourselves, the more loving and beautiful the entire world can become. And I know that's really cheesy, but I really think it's true. If you see these little beautiful moments in between humans, or you experience these little beautiful moments in between humans, you'll realize that the more of those that we can have, and the more love in that way that we can spread, the better life just gets. And if we can do that for everyone, or even just our small circle around us, I think it'll make life a little bit easier, and it'll make it a little bit easier for everyone to shine in the way that they're meant to. And I think there's nothing wrong with wanting that for the world. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Sorry I still sound super stuffed up. Hopefully I'll be all over this by the next episode. I should be. But yeah, thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, evening, morning, night, whatever, wherever you are. And I will see you next time. Love, Mikaela. Bye.